And a very good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Hockey Night on Broad Flyers pregame show. Tonight, the Philadelphia Flyers play host to, the Flyers are on the road to take on the Ottawa Senators in the first game of the for the first time of three meetings this season. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I am James Scorza, your host, on a busy night across the Delaware Valley. We got the Flyers, of course, playing in this game at the top of the hour. Eagles at 8 o'clock taking on their NFC East foes and the Washington Commanders. But let's get on with the show because the Flyers are playing, like I said, for the first time against Ottawa for the first time this season. As we always begin with our program here, let's recap what the Flyers did at the beginning parts of the first period. If I can, give me a sec. Okay, there we go. The recap of the previous game. Yes, the Philadelphia Flyers were back home after a 3-game road trip against the San Jose Sharks on Monday. And it was by far probably one of the best periods the Flyers had this season, as they had one of the best first periods. And also the presence of both Eric Johnson, who was back in the lineup, and also Travis Konechny on full display. So the Flyers had a 2-0 lead after 20. The second period we go as the Flyers look to try to get off to a better start, but they only got one more in the period, and that was all it was in that game. They led 3-0 by a goal by Matvei Michkov to make it 3-0. But then San Jose came back to close the gap to cut the lead in half. After 40 minutes, it was a 3-2 Flyers lead. To the third period we go. The Flyers were basically looking to try to get a goal to try to cut the deficit, to make the deficit a 4-2 lead. But the game with Travis Konechny was on fire that whole game and inches away from putting the game away. But the difference was San Jose tied the game late. And also, like I said, TK tried to do whatever he can to make sure that the game would not go into overtime. But unfortunately, the Flyers would go back into overtime again. And also getting a positive note is they also got a point out of it. So there was a good thing to look out for that. So the Flyers would go into overtime. Basically, it had to come to a shootout after 60 minutes. And who would have thought that would have been the case for Travis Konechny once again, as this time him and Matvei Michkov had 2 goals in that shootout to make it a 4-3 win for the Philadelphia Flyers. It was a very good win for them. They really needed that after that road trip, but more precisely than anything like that, the Flyers set the stage tonight with a team with Ottawa that is basically, on the other hand, looks very well and more like they're ready to go for the upcoming matchup tonight. And it's going to be the first of 3 meetings this year, the first one tonight in Ottawa, Ontario. But before we go any further, we want to check out the comments on the show. Michkovsky, same kind of name as Matvei Michkov, joins us and says, "What's up?" and says, "Let's go Flyers." Yeah, you know it, Mitch. That's exactly right. And I'm also check out his Fly Like an Eagle podcast on this very important network. So let's get on to the key matchups of the game tonight for the Flyers and those Ottawa Senators, as we are looking for the key matchups. And this is going to be a big key matchup tonight for the Flyers. And basically, I want to see the same thing that I saw at the beginning parts of the game that we saw at the first period, and they jumped out to a 2-0 lead. So if you can get a cushion against Ottawa, that would be very, very good for Ottawa to be on their heels very early. So for me, I would like to see the Flyers get off to a real good start tonight against Ottawa's a really good team. Obviously, they got a lot of good players on that team. So surprisingly enough, that the Flyers get off to real good starts. But now, if you can finish them, that will be a positive as well as they get closer and closer to puck drop. As for Ottawa, like I said, they are 1 game over 500 on this very 24-25 NHL season, as they have an 8-7-0 record this season. But the big story is the presence of their goaltender that they got in a trade with Boston in the offseason, trading Jonas Korpisalo, the Boston Bruins in exchange for Linus Ullmark, and Linus Ullmark has basically paid dividends for the Senators. So I'm pretty sure he'll be back in goal tonight for the Senators in this game between the Flyers and the Sens. But the one thing I would tell you this about Linus Ullmark is that, like, we already know what he was like with Boston. We all know what he was like with the Sabres as well. But the positive is that if you get off to a real good start against Ottawa, I think that should be the biggest key, because they can come back and score, because they did a great job with that a couple of nights ago against Ottawa. I'm sorry, not against Ottawa, against Toronto, rather, where they got a 3-0 shutout in that game and basically stopping Mitch Marner and the score of basically the one that's been the score for the last handful of years in Austin Matthews. So let's go to one thing for sure, and who's trending up and who is trending down. So who's trending up is going to be the big story, like I mentioned, is Travis Konecny, who's been on a full display after that win against San Jose, getting a couple goals out of it in the regulation and also in a shootout. And also, I got to tell you right now, I'm so ecstatic to see that power play being the way it is. I was really intrigued how the power play have looked a lot better than they did in years past. And so far, the power play and the power kill has been a real success for the Orange and Black. And if anybody doesn't know what the power kill was, it's technically called a penalty kill, but the Flyers' power kill, they call it the power kill because they have been very, very dominant on that penalty kill. And hopefully the same tonight for both the power play and the penalty kill can do favors for the Flyers here tonight as well. But now let's go to who's trending down. Well, this is the elephant in the room that I had to address here, but it's been the storyline all season long, is that the Flyers get off to a real good start, but they can't contain it. I mean, obviously, they can send the game into overtime, which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. That if you want to get off to a real good start against the Ottawa team, the one thing I was really intrigued about is that they get off to real good scoring leads, but the one thing that's been the burden, basically, is that they let teams back into the game. Obviously, it happened in the season, early in the season, and it looks like it's starting to become a ripple effect once again for the Orange and Black. So for me, if you can get a regulation win tonight, that will be a lot bittersweet for the Flyers, and I think it'll be a bittersweet moment for John Tortorella as well. So for me, like, if you can get a regulation win and also get some points out of it and try to stay very close in that Metropolitan Division, I mean, sure, there's a lot of games left that has to say, okay, like, if you play against Ottawa and you play your best against Ottawa and you come home to play either Buffalo or Carolina or even like one of the best teams in the NHL, like, regulation wins can go a very long way, but especially for the Flyers as well. They have to do that tonight against a very good Ottawa team. Like I said, they're one game over 500, but tonight, like, this is when you have to get right game. And even John Tortorella said it earlier that he wants to see a lot of basically like the saying, like, focus on fundamentals. I think that's going to be the big key tonight as well, is focus on fundamentals and also find a way to just get a regulation win. That's all I have to say about that, because I'm not trying to say that I don't mind the 2 points in either a shootout or overtime. I just like to see some good wins just to get ready for the upcoming holiday, and also have a little bit of just a reminder about. I mean, obviously you're not going to be like Winnipeg, for example, right? You know, that's been on a tear right now. But the one thing I would say though is that if you can get some regulation wins, that will be the big positive I take out of it tonight. And that's for who's trending up and who is trending down. But for everybody else, I'm just trying to figure out if anybody's commenting on the show. I mean, by all means, comment on the show and just say, hey, go Birds, you know? I mean, just something that's like spare the time. Obviously, I know it's a busy night across the Philadelphia area. But like I said, like that's for who is trending up and who is trending down. Now let's get on to the injuries and the scratches of the game tonight. There's a lot of injuries that I've seen in our news feeds today. Of course, the Philadelphia Flyers social media page. So here's some of the injuries and scratches. Sean Couturier, looks like he's injured once again. It looks to me he's going to miss some time with a lower body injury. Sam Ersson, surprising me, I think that's the one thing that was surprising. I guess, like after that game I don't know if the full details, if Sam Ersson was going to miss the game with a lower body injury. I did see Sean Couturier, and I'm pretty sure I saw Sam Ersson as well. That is going to be out of the lineup tonight, obviously. So that might be a good chance to see one of the backups come back. Like, obviously, I guess Alexei Kolosov, who's day by day. Jamie Drysdale will miss his third straight game tonight due to an upper body injury. Cam York still is basically on the IR, but is slated to travel with the team, but will not play tonight. But hopefully we'll be back for that home game, that 6-game homestand starting on Monday against Colorado. And like I said, Alexei Kolosov in tonight. I'm sorry, not in tonight, but he is day by day. So I'm pretty sure he'll be back with the Flyers after tonight, because if Sam Ersson's not in goal tonight for the Flyers, not Sam Ersson in goal tonight for the Flyers in the foreseeable future, I can see Alexei Kolosov come back for the basically, if Sam Ersson can't go, it looks like Kolosov will be back with the Flyers before we know it. So let's check out our starting goaltender matchup tonight for the Flyers and Ottawa. So in goal tonight for the Flyers, like I just mentioned, Sam Ersson not in the lineup tonight due to an upper body injury. So it's the backup, Ivan Fedotov, will be back in goal tonight for the Flyers, who is 1-3-0 this season with a 4.5 goals against average. His last start on Thursday night against Tampa Bay, or last Thursday night against Tampa Bay, was a shootout win. So he gets the nod once again tonight for the orange and black. And like I mentioned in the open, it will be Linus Ullmark in goal tonight for the Ottawa Senators, and has played very, very well for Ottawa. So the last game he played was he stopped 27 shots and received a shutout in that game against Toronto. It was a 3-0 win, and also he is 4 for 4 on the season for the Senators. And for my predictions, I think the one thing I'll take out of it too, for me, I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a very, very good game. This is the last game in a while for the Orange and Black, so I'm pretty sure they'll be saying, okay, now we can, after this game, can finally get some rest. We can finally sleep in our own beds. So for me, I would like to see the Flyers win tonight. Sure, Ottawa's a really good team. I mean, like I mentioned, but they're still rebuilding. They're still trying to find their footing. Keep a close eye out for Brady Tkachuk tonight, who likes to stir the pot a little bit. Tim Stützle, who's been a real good piece for them as well. And also, if you don't see the back of my head, that's a Claude Giroux head. So yeah, Claude is back with. I mean, I don't know if he is playing tonight. I will be sure he will be playing tonight. So that will be a good thing to look out of it too. So for me, I just would hope to see a good effort by the Flyers once again tonight for the Orange and Black. And let me ask you this before we go: does anybody know if anybody can tell me about the injury about Sam Ersson, I would that would be much appreciated. But if you guys I mean, I guess it's what it is. But like I said, I just hope I just didn't say anything that's I just read on the report that him and Couturier are both out tonight with lower body injuries. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. So that's going to wrap up for my show here tonight, and that's my wrap for the Flyers pregame show. So remember, I am back every single night to recap every single game from the Flyers season, and also a preview of the upcoming matchups tonight. Busy night across the Delaware Valley, so now for everyone behind the scenes and now for everyone that made it all possible. For everybody else, this is James Scorza here. Let's go Flyers, and let's go Birds. Until then, I'll see you guys back here on Saturday night between the Flyers and Sabres. Until then, we'll catch you next time.